This is an exciting week to be a 21 Pilots fan because this is the official start of the Breach era with the release of the contract on Thursday. And we already have so much lore going into it. We already have parallels of the Blurryface era with the way that the contract has been promoted, with the color scheme, with the album cover, Blurryface becoming active again, tweeting and deleting all these videos, posting cryptic teasers, and I wouldn't be surprised if Blurryface actually leaks the contract early, much like how Blurryface did in the Blurryface era, because we are seeing parallels. But people have been requesting a recap of sorts of all the lore from Paladin Strait all the way up to now. But I figure I'll do you one better. The Clancy era was relatively short, which means that the lore is kind of a bit easier to go over. So let's go back and recap all the lore from the Clancy era. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on when you're watching this. How's it going, guys? First off, hope you're having a good day today. Hope your day is going well and hope it continues to go well. Various links to support the channel down in the description box below, such as the channel's Patreon or the channel's Ko-Fi, where you can buy the boy coffee, keep the boy sane. Anyway, there's going to be quite a bit. Get ready, grab yourself a nice cup of coffee and maybe some popcorn or breakfast, because it goes well with coffee. But here is the Clancy lore recap. Everything started on February 15th of 2024, when on all music streaming services, on the album covers of Vessel, Blurryface, Trench, and Scaled in Icy, the album covers began to show red tape over the eyes of every character. So over the eyes of Trash, Clifford the Vulture, Tyler and Josh's grandpa, and on the Blurryface album cover, which that particular dot that it's over is the Bishop Keon's, the bishop who died in the Outside music video where he was murdered to death by the other bishops. And then on the very same day, people began receiving mail from 21 Pilots. No, this wasn't a merch drop. It was actual physical mail from 21 Pilots, but more specifically from the sacred municipality of Dema. That is right, these letters came from Dema. A very, very cool marketing strategy in there. And inside of these letters, you got little notes from Dema themselves, little, as I call them, jury summons, where it says you visited dma.org.clancy, so you've accessed these documents. What is wrong with you? So you got three separate things here. You have this one. You have four, I guess. You have four. You have the evidence document there, which contains the handwritten note. How did you find the DMA.org website, the dma.org.info/found/the number scheme 14 Clancy.html ? Then you've got a Clancy letter in here. You got a Clancy letter, which this has since been uploaded to the DMA.org site itself for you to read. Contains the evidence document, the violation code, all that fun stuff. And then on the back, you have an updated map of the continent of Trench, which contained a new spot, the Paladin Strait, where it is the spot going from Voldsoy back to the main continent islands. Inside this very first letter here, it has a little star next to the sentence, inhabitants of Dema to do their duty, with a little explanation on the very bottom here that says, take excessive measures in attempting to correct or make amends for an error, weakness, or problem, which, by definition, is overcompensate. 1 week later, on February 22nd, 21 Pilots uploaded the I Am Clancy video to their channel. This is a recap of the entire Dema storyline up to that point in Tyler's own words, which is really cool because he gives some insight into the Clancy character, as well as Dema, Trench, as well as how the bishops operate. Also gives us a chronological order of music videos, because that has been up for debate amongst the 21 Pilots community for quite some time, to where in that video, as well as the playlist over on their channel, the order of music videos in the Dema storyline is Heavy Dirty Soul, Jumpsuit, Nico and the Niners, Levitate, Live Stream Experience, The Outside, and then Saturday. And this video also gives us a little teaser and the first look of Overcompensate in Tyler's new outfit and mask. February 28th, the day before Overcompensate releases DMA org updates with 3 separate letters. One of those being the evidence letter we got in the Dema mail, so that way everyone can see it. Then we had 2 other ones. One file, this one right here, entitled Maniac_Clay. With the double letters in these ones follow the torches. And then in the next letter that was uploaded, it was entitled _CLA_IM00FFFF.jpg. So claim and then a color source, which is blue. A little cyan blue color, which is rather interesting considering where we came from in the Psy era, where that color was prominent, to where we are now post Clancy World Tour, what Blurryface has uploaded to 21 Pilots social medias with Dema in blue, as well as Tyler covered in blue light at the very end, which is interesting to think about all the way now. And also in this letter, there are double letters that spell out "fly out." The following day, February 29th, we get the Overcompensate music video. One of my favorite 21 Pilot music videos of all time, and the best music video Mark from Real Bear Media has ever directed. It's so good. And the music video features Clancy going into a school, an auditorium inside the walls at Dema, looking at the kids and telling them, hey, this is what's up. This is what the bishops actually want from you. They want you to be glorious gods. They want you to take your own lives, so that way they can harvest them for their own various means. And Tyler, Clancy, gives them a nice little talk inside the auditorium and shows them slideshows on a projector of all the banditos, of all their knowledge, the Clancy letters, the weapon diagram, showing, hey, listen, don't give in to Dema. Join the rebellion, be a part of the Banditos. And the way the music video ends, Clancy passes out. They take the mask off, and it is in fact not Tyler. It is an empty vessel. It is a glorious gone. It is a dead kid, which is very heartbreaking when you remember that the bishops want you to die and take your own life at that. And you realize that throughout the music video, what is actually Tyler is actually this kid the entire time. We see Tyler, we see Clancy as a way for us, the watcher, as us, the audience, to see, oh yeah, it's Tyler talking throughout all of this, but in reality, it's been the kid this entire time that Tyler has been seizing via the Ned psychokinesis horn magic, to where he's been controlling this empty vessel the entire time. We only see Tyler to make it easy for us, the audience, to understand. It's Tyler talking through this empty vessel. And also, Josh wasn't there the entire time. More on that later. But the music video ends with Tyler and Josh pulling up to shore on the Continental Trench, greeted by some torches. From there, we go on to get the next semester music video, as well as the backslide music video and the whole promotion for the album Clancy. Justin, why aren't we talking in depth about those music videos? Well, my friends, not every music video is lore related, and Tyler himself confirmed that, because when we got to the Clancy live stream, Tyler said, and I paraphrase, I'm not going to quote, the Overcompensate was lore related, navigating was lore related, and also Paladin was. But that being said, we did get a little bit of a lore adjacent music video with Routines in the Night that has a lot of parallels with Fairly Local, has a lot of parallels with the 21 Pilots lore, to where that one is very lore adjacent, offshoot kind of sort of deal, but our story does hold off until we get to the Navigating music video. And Navigating does pick up where Overcompensate left off, with Tyler and Josh greeted by the torches, which turned out to be Banditos, not Dema on fire. So they follow the Banditos, lead them through the Continental Trench, through the forest, through various things, across a little pond, and other means. And while that's happening, it frequently cuts to a shot of another person holding the Clancy jacket from inside Dema and walking the opposite direction the boys are. So they are going to meet each other right there in the center. Music video goes on. Tyler needs helped out a couple of times from Josh, the torchbearer, and then the very end of the music video, they are greeted by who? the Torchbearer, Joshua William Dunn, pans back to Tyler, and the Torchbearer that was behind him is gone. Because all this time, Josh had this power of a guide, of like a guardian angel sort of deal to help Tyler out in situations where Tyler needed Josh's help, such as the Saturday music video, such as the Outside, where the entire time Josh knew what the plan. Josh knew what was going on and was helping Tyler back all the way to this moment, which, if you think about it, that means that Clancy hasn't seen the Torchbearer since the events of Levitate. Clancy was alone the entirety of the Psy era. Clancy could only see the Torchbearer, and which is why Josh wasn't at the live stream experience. Why Sally Carver went, "Josh, where are you, you stupid idiot? Get in here!" And why Lisden and Carver couldn't see Josh, because Josh was a figment of Tyler's imagination. The music video ends with the Torchbearer giving Clancy the jacket they left in Dema, while My Blood plays to close us out. And from there, we get all the way to the Paladin Strait music video, where Tyler at the very end goes, "Tell me, does this sound like the end to you?" We get Paladin, we listen to it, and then at the very end, we get the 1 minute of birds, then the lore section at the end. All around are banditos fighting while I find Nico, past the point of no return, climb top of the tower, Sureface, I yell louder, and then we get the door close. "So few, so proud, so emotional. Hello, Clancy," ends. And we're all like, what? And we had to wait for that music video because Tyler and Josh said it wasn't ready just yet. Meanwhile, on that same day, and the very following day in Columbus, Ohio, there was an FPE event, a fan premiere exhibit that went through all of 21 Pilots history, had artifacts, had handwritten lyrics from the band, had exclusive merch, and this thing went on the road on the Clancy World Tour and the US leg as well as the European leg, but at the very end showed this right here, this Italian, this Latin text that translates to Clancy Final Chapter 25, which at the time, no one knew what this meant. People thought this was when we would be getting the Paladin Strait music video. People thought this was going to be another album, which turns out, yes, because we're getting Breach this year. So, Clancy Final Chapter set everyone into speculation station of what in the world this could possibly mean. Then, the following week, 21 Pilots announced, hey, we are going to be uploading a little digipack called the Clancy Digital Remains. Has 4 bonus songs recorded from an evening with 21 Pilots, so Overcompensate Live, Next Semester, Backsliding the Craving Live, as well as a PDF document that features photos you've never seen before, behind the scenes photos of the band performing and of the music videos, handwritten lyrics, which how we got Drag Path Devil's Eyes, and some other lovely things in there. And turns out this Digital Remains was a puzzle for us to access the Paladin Strait music video. Initially, that puzzle started off as a theory in Discord click. People were trying to figure out, because it did contain a bunch of numbers, a bunch of random stuff, a bunch of cryptic images. No one was really sure if it was actually a thing or not, until Blurryface changed the Blurryface header to this image right here, showing, hey, yeah, no, it is something. And Blurryface also tweeted out a video which had Morse code in it. Which reverse translated to pages showing you how to get to the access, which In all of this, we got a new website for DMA org that required a password, which later it was found that the password for this was 8325, and you got that by matching the photos on Blurryface's header, figuring out the page numbers. You get 103_37. Those separate pages got you to this website, and then the 8325 were other two pages over on Blurryface's header. And this got you to the Paladin Strait music video, but a restricted, redacted version of it. It would frequently show up a violation code that would say, hey, this is restricted content, you shouldn't be watching this. And people got to download it, watch the Paladin Strait music video, which is slightly grainy, slightly less saturated, and it wasn't the entire thing. Held off a couple of cliffhangers, which the following day, a couple days later, we got the official Paladin Strait music video, where in that you saw the Banditos prepping for this final battle, prepping for war against Dema, against the bishops. In this music video, you saw the Banditos fight the glorious Gone, these dead bodies that were harvested by the bishops, which in the music video also you get this little torch image right here. People swear they see numbers in here, but if you look at anything long enough, you can see whatever you want. I see chicken, I see pizza. But in this music video, at the very end, Clancy climbs this tower. Josh, the torchbearer, looks very concerned for his friends. Clancy gets in, knocks down the 8 bishops, maybe doesn't kill them, but knocks them down. Blurryface appears through the door, grabs him by his throat, much like how we see in other music videos when Clancy is getting smeared. So few, so proud, so emotional, and in this time, Clancy's closing his eyes. And in the very end of the music video, Clancy opens his eyes and looks very defiant. Looks very, I'm gonna kick your butt, Blurryface. But the music video ends there, and everyone is wondering what in the world just happened. The Paladin Strait music video premiered on June 21st. The following day, June 22nd, Tyler posts this on Twitter replying to someone saying, I hope the final battle isn't during the Clancy tour at the shows. Tyler says, it's not. The show is a flashback, like an entire life flashing by, reminding us why we fight right before we do, which has been reflected in the set list for Clancy World Tour, because it had a little throwback in it. It went all the way back to some self-titled stuff in the old songs medley. It also included regional at best, included the first live performance of Slowtown in a Clancy tour, in an actual tour rather than a one-off show, unlike an evening with 21 Pilots. It was a tour with Slowtown on it for a couple of the shows, so you got to see that. And as mentioned before, the fan premiere exhibit went on the road for the Clancy World Tour as well. And in every single stop, we got a letter from a citizen of Dema or a Bandito. These letters are a whole rabbit hole. We're not going to go ahead and read them on the channel. However, I will link to one of Dema's videos in the YouTuber Dema, not the actual fictional hellhole that is Dema. But I'm going to link to one of fellow ClickTuber Dema's videos where there is a read-through and a little analysis of all the letters down in the description box below. But the basic summary of it is that it was doing world building. This is how citizens inside of Dema's walls felt about the bishops, about the city itself, about the rebellion. People, Banditos encouraging people to join the rebellion. Dema citizens talking to Dema citizens. Entire world building. And each one contains a series of double letters where it'll be a word such as the, but it might be spelled T-H-H-E rather than T-H-E. And if you took every letter in order and took every double letter, it spelled out through the entirety of the US tour run, we must destroy them or we will become them. And if we become them, we must do better, which very, very ominous message from, obviously addressed to Clancy. If we don't destroy them, we will become them. If we don't destroy the bishops, we will become the bishops. And if we become them, we have to do better than what they ever have done, because they've kind of ruined Dema and hijacked a religion and has run the city into the ground. As US tour went on, the letters had a little bit of something going on with them with each show. They would start having Blurryface paint on them. And we got Blurryface activity during the US shows, where on the intro video for the judge that had the fans singing the first verse, occasionally it would show up the violation code, the restricted code you would see over on the Dema website, the one that would pop up for the Paladin Strait music video. The music would get ominous for a bit and then revert. And usually these activities were accompanied with a Blurryface tweet. One of those being, "We've always watched your diversions," as in, we got an eye on you, Clancy. And anytime there was Blurryface activity, Tyler at the very end of the show would wear a Clancy shirt written in reverse with red text. If there was Blurryface activity though, this shirt would have black text instead of red. But last time we saw a Blurryface tweet was in September/late August. So this is all fine and dandy until we got to the very ends of the Clancy World Tour, where again, black blurry paint was being added to all these letters, these printed off letters. Keep in mind they were printed. And then the very last show, there were various warnings all over the FPE with black blurry paint that just had "Dear Clancy" written in red. Warnings to the citizens of Dema against the banditos. This was the bishops doing propaganda stuff. These were printed out letters. These were evidence stuff, much like how we got in the mail. They looked an awful lot like these. These were bishop propaganda saying, don't listen to the bandito media. Do not listen to the rebels. They won't do you any good. Listen to us. The final FPE letter was from the torchbearer to Clancy, basically saying, hey, we got your back. And still very ominous because it basically, I'm not going to pull this up, but had, yeah, red tape, big red, "Dear Clancy." And that final show contained a special appearance from Dan Lizen and Sally Carver from the live stream experience singing the intro for the judge as well. During the middle of the US run of shows, Tyler did an acoustic performance for Q101, a radio station in Chicago, and it was an acoustic performance of 21 Pilots songs. And in there, Tyler contained the little interesting quote of, yeah, the storyline's not done. I was working out the ending of the storyline this morning, confirming that there was an end. The Paladin wasn't the end, but there was something more to be done. When the US leg of the Clancy World Tour ended, we got the announcement of that they were going to be in the Arcane 2 soundtrack with The Line. And depending on who you ask, The Line is lore, The Line is not lore. It's lore adjacent. It has lore, but it's the Arcane lore. The jury's out on it for me. However, it is pretty interesting that we have a song called The Line. We're getting a song called The Contract. You think back to Choker. I see no volunteers to co-sign on my fears. I'll sign on the line alone. The line, the contract in the song. Very interesting thing to think about. But I want to take you back to the beginning of the Clancy World Tour, because this is an overarching thing throughout the remainder of the Clancy World Tour, a very important one at that, and that is Tyler's tour shirts. And this is an entire rabbit hole. And I'll put various links down in the description box below to a video we did on it, as well as to just a general overview of all the shirts, because it's rather interesting. For the US run and Australian run shows, these shirts contained images of the bands from photo shoots you've never seen before, some stills from music videos, some things that were in the digital remains. Also contains architecture from around the world, art pieces, statues, and it was headless imagery. Very, very creepy stuff. And this, again, for the US shows, for the Jingle Ball performances, the Australian shows, then slightly changed when we went to South America and Mexico. There were 10 shows, and all these shows had a series of numbers on Tyler's shirt. And these numbers were the bishops. It contained every single one. Sakarver, Lisden, Nils, Andre, Nico, Keon's, all your favorite. And I know what you're saying. But Justin, you said 10. There's 9 bishops. The final show, we got Clancy on the shirt. So now, fast forward to the European run shows, and the entire time, Tyler has worn white shirts. Tyler switches up to wear all black. Tyler went full boy emo on us and started containing these images from Pinterest. They contain a lot of heavy, dirty soul imagery, a lot of dogs, a lot of rabbits, a lot of photos from the emotional roadshow era in particular, as well as occasional some stuff from Trench, some stuff aside, but mainly photos during the Blurryface era. And during some of these shows also contained a code on Tyler's shirt, again written out in numbers. And if you put these numbers to their alphabetical partner, so 1 being A, 2 being B, C being 3, so on and so forth, you would get stuff such as, do you FIFA home? Not a typo, that's what's really on the shirt. And a bunch of other texts. And also, during the European run shows, the FPE continued once again. This time, they were handwritten ones. These were actual ethically sourced Bandito, Disses, and Dema ones, rather than ones being confiscated and photocopied like we saw during the US run shows. They were written on more so of a papyrus type material, and during the end, they're all signed off in Morse code, to where the Morse code spelled out breach. We've covered those letters on the channel too. I know Dema is going to be releasing a video much like how the US run shows with all those letters, so keep your eyes out for that. Now, for the FPEs in Europe, these contained blurry activity progressively when we got to the end, where slowly Blurryface paint was being added to the projector, to the Bandito flag, as well as to letters and the tent. The tent, though, rather instead of being covered in blurry paint, it was just burning down. This thing burnt down to the ground by the very last show. During the end, everything was covered in black, which to me symbolizes the flashback that Tyler was talking about from earlier. We know when a citizen gets smeared, much like how Tyler was at the end of Paladin Strait music video, that it erases all of their memories of the outside. That it basically makes them into a puppet for Dema. So we are seeing Tyler's life flash before his eyes. We're seeing life being choked out of him. We're seeing his memories get rid of. So from the start of the tour to the end, we're in the events of Paladin, where Tyler closes his eyes. That is what we are seeing as well from start to the end, where his memories are being depleted from him. Is at this point we mention a big part of the Clancy tour show. When the pilots are done at B stage, Josh, dressed as the torchbearer, comes from the audience with his torch, hands Clancy the jacket. Clancy puts it on, they walk to the stage, Dema pops up from the stage and catches them on fire. They perform navigating and then go from the rest of the concert. This was all fine and dandy until the very last, well, I mean, there was some technical failures. Fire forgot to be lit, and the Dema forgot to go down one night because things break. But during the final performance, when the jacket is being offered to Clancy, Clancy doesn't take the jacket. You probably have seen this clip many, many times already. The pilots uploaded it to their socials, and it's a very heartbreaking moment, especially when you realize that Tyler doesn't refuse the jacket. Tyler can't see Josh. Josh isn't existent in Tyler's visuals because Clancy almost can't see. And this final performance gets so dark because Tyler does noose imagery with like just some movement. He literally goes like that for a moment. He ties the Clancy ribbon around his eyes during doubt, and like he can't perform. He's like just stumbling all over the place because the boy can't see, and it's just such a dark performance. And It's heartbreaking, and that's the final show. Closes out good, and then we get some time off, and then we get the Blurryface anniversary, where we get the eye from the Blurryface era slowly clothing for a couple of days, as well as Blurryface having access to the 21 Pilot socials, mainly Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where Blurryface would leave letters capitalized throughout all of his social medias. It would eventually be fixed. You will see Blurryface tweet accounts through the 21 Pilot account, showing that Blurryface has access to the Pilot's Instagram as well as Twitter. And if you take everything Blurryface uploaded, all the Blurryface behind the scenes videos, you would get the contract. So we got breach from the final FPE letters in Morse code. Then you have the contract spelled throughout all of these letters, throughout all these tweets that have been corrected. We had the eye closing, and when the day you thought the eye was going to close, you get the announcement of breach and the contract. And that, my friends, was the lore of the Clancy era. I am so tired, my voice hurt so much, and I don't know if I did a good job explaining everything and or if I got everything. I'm pretty confident I got everything in here. But that was your brief synopsis. Everything that I talked about, such as the FPE letters, the shirts, Dema org website, all will be in the description box below, as well as the various ways to support the channel, such as the channel's Ko-Fi, or you can buy the boy coffee, keep the boy sane, because oh, I am so tired, as well as the channel's Patreon, where you can get your name shouted out at the very end of the video, such as Meg with Alex and Linux. Thank you guys for the support over on Patreon. But anyway, guys, I am so exhausted. Let me know if I missed anything down in the comment section below, because I know you guys well. If I got anything wrong, you will correct me, and I'll probably have to make an updated one. But anyway, guys, I will see you all later. Goodbye, and more importantly, have a good day. And I'll see you probably either before or after this, because Blurryface is probably going to tweet soon.